Good evening, guys, and welcome to another stream where this week we will cover and review Game Week 1 and also preview Game Week 2. My name is Ray Qureshi, and I'm here with the founder of the FPL Way, Dan. Dan, how are you?
I am good, Ray. How are you, buddy? You okay?
Very well, man. Very well. I know last week we said we'll try and do this twice every month, but you and I are so keen we had to get back on just a week later.
We just couldn't help ourselves, couldn't we?
Absolutely.
But no, it's been a good weekend. I'm really glad FPL was back. We've had a positive week though, I think, last week. You know, our first video, FPL was back. We've also had I think we both had a good game week. So all positive. Great to get on for another video.
Brilliant. So we'll let the positivity go. We'll let the positivity continue throughout the stream. And the first thing has to be, how many points do you think Man U need to stay up?
Oh my God, I don't know if I can answer that question. I'll tell you what, right? I am absolutely fuming, really. The weekend, I was just so annoyed. We never started the game off well. Possession was poor. We just looked clueless, absolutely clueless. I really questioned the team selection, and I know I got it. I got my team selection wrong, so well done for winning your team selection, Ray. But I question it because I saw Eriksen as a false nine. I've never seen Eriksen play as a false nine. If anything, we would do Bruno. That would make a bit of sense.
Yeah.
But I got nothing really good to say about the players. None of them stood out for me. None of them. Brighton completely deserved the win. They were braver, better on the ball. This caused us problems. Well organised. I'm just so surprised because the system we played was completely different to what we were playing in the pre-season. Playing this false nine, and it was completely different. I'm disappointed that Ronaldo didn't start. I think many would say because of fitness, but I said to you before, look, he's an elite player. His fitness is incredible for his age. I personally think you should have started him. But no, we did have chances. I think second half we were better. Rashford had two good chances. I will give credit to Sanchez. I thought he made a great save and denied Rashford the goal. So I've got to give him credit to that. But me personally, if you're one-on-one with the goalkeeper near enough, you've got an opportunity to score in front of goal, then you've got to score in those positions. But I blame that on the lack of confidence on Rashford.
Yeah.
And there was another opportunity as well. And Rashford, the ball was whipped in with pace, but still, with Rashford's quality, he should have done better. He should have connected the ball. He should have connected with the ball much better. But very disappointing.
When I saw the lineup, I remember, before the lineup, I said to you that I really hope Eriksen will play. I did say that to you. I said, a false nine could be something you adopt depending on your position. And so all I thought to myself is either Bruno will be the false nine or Bruno could be on to the left. I think we spoke about that offline, that maybe Bruno could be he could be like Smith Rowe coming off the left at a better standard than Smith Rowe right now, obviously, because I think Bruno is world class. And then maybe Rashford could be the front man and Eriksen would be the number 10, where he's been pretty much all his career, right? And then when I saw him at false nine, I thought the broadcasters got it wrong when they showed Eriksen up front. I'm like, he won't be up front. But my goodness, he was up front. It was insane.
Weird. I know. Same. I thought it was going to be Bruno, but no, it was insane. He's never played. I mean, I've looked up a bit of research on him, and he's never played as a false nine. And what I'm hearing is he's not good at the goal at back. How do you say it? He's not good
with his back to goal.
Yeah, that's it. And when Ronaldo came on in the second half, he dropped as the DM. Now he doesn't. That again, that's not a natural position of his, but you can see he was much more comfortable at front of goal, and we were controlling the game a bit better. But the game was already done, you know.
What would you do against? How would you change it against Brentford? Because basically, it's pretty much going to be the same availability. Would you bring in Ronaldo? What would you do?
I'll certainly bring Ronaldo in. Definitely, I think we have to. It's an interesting one. What the lineup's going to be actually. There's definitely going to be a couple of changes. We could see Eriksen play as the number 10, and Bruno could go to the left wing. Maybe Rashford might get dropped. Maybe. Or we can see what I said in Brighton in the second half when Ronaldo came on. Eriksen dropped in as the DM. I thought Van der Beek did really well when he came on. And I think it's time for him to get an opportunity, because I thought Scott McTominay, well, number one, he was very lucky to be on the pitch, if you ask me. He should have been sent off.
That's mad, isn't it?
Mad. So I think I'm unsure, but I think we're definitely going to be able to see a couple of changes. I'd like to see Van der Beek get an opportunity. I think we'll do the 4-2-3-1. I've got to mention as well that the starting lineup was a 4-3-3, and Fred was playing as the lone, the holding midfielder. I have to question Erik Ten Hag's tactics there. I don't understand why he's playing Fred there. He cannot play as the holding midfielder. He completely struggled. He's a box-to-box player, as simple as that. But I think we'll switch to 4-2-3-1. We'll go back to basics, what we were used to in the pre-season. But again, it's going to be interesting. The back four would be the same. Delort, Maguire, Martinez, and Shaw.
We won't do predicted lineup yet, don't worry. That'll be on that'll be on Thursday when we tweet it out, and we'll continue our score. Don't worry, don't put your head on the line just yet. One question I had before I go to transfers is: would you start, if Varane is available? Would you still start Maguire with Lisandro?
I would start Varane with Lisandro, 100%. Sorry, was that the question, Ray?
That was
I would definitely. Yeah, I definitely would, but I don't think Erik Ten Hag's going to do that. He's already said, like, Maguire's the captain of the club, so if you're the captain, you're going to be the first one in the team sheet. I think Varane, he's lacking a bit of fitness, so he needs time. But I think the ideal, pairing would be Varane and Martinez.
Okay,
100%.
So transfers, it looks like Rabiot is about to come through the door. Arnautovic, it looks like, is a no-go, which I think is good. What are your thoughts on Rabiot? Because he was deemed a young superstar about 4 or 5 years ago, went to PSG, went to Juventus. It almost follows a similar pattern to Pogba in a way. He's got a little bit of baggage with him. What are your thoughts on Rabiot coming?
Yeah, I had to do a little bit of digging, to be honest. I've heard of Rabiot, but I haven't heard much about him. I find this link, well, it's not a link, it's the deal's been agreed. He's coming to Man United. He is coming. I find it really strange. It sounds like a desperate transfer. And we've not been linked with him all pre-season. And it's funny, after the loss against Brighton, we're linked with him. And already we've got a deal on the line. So I said to you before, United we were not interested in bringing any of us centre midfielders except for De Jong. And at the moment, that's still up in the air. But I see this as a panic buy, mate. And he could be good. He's better than Fred and McTominay. We'll just have to wait and see.
Okay, yeah. And it's kind of stuff we said last week about panicking, isn't it? And it looks like that's going to happen now. So, well, that's Manchester United. Let's go to Arsenal.
Right.
Fortunately, positive.
Right. Much more positive. I'll tell you what, Ray, though. I watched this game. It was brilliant. The first game of the game week. Fantastic start from Arsenal. I'm sure you agree. But no, mate, you crack it on as you're the Arsenal man. Tell us how the team went.
Yeah, so first of all, predicted 11 out of 11. So I made sure Dan knew about that. So
you certainly did.
And I thought the first 20 minutes, I thought we were electrifying. You know, what I was watching was everything I wanted in Arsenal. The intensity was high, the movement, the transitions I was talking about last week as well. You know, the identity. You know, it's taken a long time for Arteta to get this going. But now it looks like this is his team, his players. And I thought the first 20 minutes we were absolutely brilliant. I think after that, I give a lot of credit to Crystal Palace. I think they adjusted themselves a little bit. And also Joachim Anderson's long balls were just outrageous. They weren't hoofs. Yeah. They weren't hoofs, were they? He was picking his spots, and you know, their main attacking outlet, of course, is Wilfried Zaha. And for me, Zaha is one of the best dribblers I've ever seen. Like, he'll take anyone on. He can roast anyone. You know what I love about Zaha? He doesn't get down if it doesn't work, isn't it? He gets the ball, he goes again. It doesn't matter if it's White, Tomiyasu, Kyle Walker, Reece James, Danny Alves back in the day. You know, he'll take them on. So we definitely hung on. There were two big chances they had. If it ended 1-1, I wouldn't have argued too much. But what I love is that we grinded and got the win, and I think that's brilliant signs for Arsenal.
Yeah, definitely. Now, you guys played brilliant. It was great to watch. I want to give you a question about Jesus. Now, do you know 250,000 managers has took him out? Now, is that crazy, or are they right to take him out?
We have a few questions about this, but I think knee-jerk is the word you and I use a lot offline. And I think people who took him out maybe didn't watch the game because, you know, the first 20 minutes he was involved in almost everything. And you have to give credit to Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace are a very good side, you know, defensively, they were very impressive last season as well. And I'm not surprised Jesus didn't return. And that's something I said a lot, is that, you know, Jesus might not return in his first game, but I think you're going to want him in the second game because Leicester City currently are not a good defensive team, and I think we're going to create opportunities against Leicester City. First game of the season, Emirates is going to be rocking. You know, I think letting go of Jesus I actually genuinely think is a bad move. I think people who've done it have been way too knee-jerk, way too reactive, and I think we still first couple of game weeks we need the data, isn't it? And I think Jesus could prove to be a great asset and one I'd recommend holding until the first wildcard.
Yeah, I totally agree, Ray. I mean, he could have got an assist. He set up Odegaard very nice. I don't understand why Odegaard didn't take the shot. So, you know, another day we could be laughing. But 250,000, I think that's quite a lot. Let's go Zinchenko. So 453,000 managers. I'm saying 453 managers have brought in Zinchenko. Now, he's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Do you think he's a reliable asset for FPL?
So I mean, I think last week and in other outlets as well, I always picked Gabriel as our best defender because of set pieces. Yeah. And I said with Zinchenko, I said whilst he's playing left back, he would not be my £5 million asset of choice. Even with Arsenal, I would have said Gabriel, but I mean the assist was fantastic. It was definitely worked on, you could tell. Yeah. And even in the left back role, he was getting in really advanced areas. We were almost being like a 2-3-3-2 formation. Like he was very much pushed up in the central areas, much like he was at Man City. The difference between Man City and Arsenal is at Man City he didn't need to defend because they had great defenders. with us, there's still a lot of work to do. So he has to get used to actually being a defender, which he hasn't been. So I think I've always said that, you know, the players keep the shirt, and Arteta doesn't like changing winning teams. So I think as long as we're winning and he's performing well, then I think it's his spot. I can't see Tierney walking in. And Xhaka, once again, another excellent performance. So, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I've got to mention Martinelli. He had a good game. I think he was one of the best players on the pitch, and with Jesus. I think he played a good part, as we've said before. But Martinelli got himself a goal. I'm absolutely chuffed myself. Brilliant.
Yeah, everything I waxed poetic about him last week, isn't it? Direct dribbling, brave, pressing, explosive. And I've said this for a while. I think he's still the most explosive Arsenal player from an FPL aspect. And also, as a footballer, I think he's got the highest ceiling out of anyone we have in our squad. I think Martinelli could be a global superstar. I think he's got everything. I think his ceiling's higher than Saka. I think it's higher than Ødegaard. I think it's higher than Martinelli, higher than Jesus, higher than Saliba if you're looking at positions. I think Martinelli has everything to be, I'm talking global, like seriously, top level.
He's got that potential.
Yeah, you see him in little bursts, isn't it? The way he dribbles past players, his touch on the ball, the way he strikes the ball. Even when he missed the chance and he should have scored, you could tell he was like, you know what? I'm not going to let this get me down. I want to get back in there. And then he took his goal like a poacher.
Absolutely. I mean, I always brag about body language and confidence on the pitch, and it's one of the eye tests I like to see. And I just see when he's on the ball, he's very confident. You can see he's enjoying his game, and I think he's nailed. He's got that spot on. He's got that spot. In my opinion, I believe Smith Rowe's injured though. Is he injured or he's lacking fitness? Would you say he's not causing any problems with the competition-wise at the moment? Would you say?
Yeah, no, he's still got niggles. He's been training a little bit with the reserves, but there's no harm to Martinelli.
So we're all right.
Yeah.
I've got to mention because we mentioned it on the last stream, Saliba. What you mentioned how, because I said to you I've not heard about this guy, but I watched it and he was brilliant. As a centre back myself playing football, I thought he was really good. What was your thoughts of his game?
Yeah, I mean, last week I was saying what I saw in him at Liga, and it's the presence, isn't it? It's his presence. He felt assured. In the beginning of the match when we were dominating, he was the last man, if you like, to kind of start the transition of the play. So there's a lot of trust on him. And also the way he cleaned up for Ben White a couple of times was just astounding, wasn't it? He was just so assured, so calm, so cool, so so confident as well. But as confident as he was, I felt there was humility in the way he played. He wasn't being arrogant and thinking, "Oh, I'm having a great game. Let me go on a little wonder here." No, he kept it simple, which you want your centre half to do. And
absolutely,
like yourself when you played, obviously I know a bit about when you played for Swindon. Is you've got to get your foundations in place first before you try to be a footballer, if that makes sense, as a centre half.
No, absolutely.
And I think Saliba did that brilliantly. And again, it's like what I've been harping on last week and previous weeks: is you play well, you keep your shirt with Arteta. There's no reason for Saliba to be dropped at all, because he and Gabriel look formidable together, don't they? They're just two massive units who know how to play.
I know. I mean, I don't think they've not played with each other for that long, though, haven't they? Except for pre-season, I would probably imagine. But they look very naturally. They get on really well. They look great together. I thought, and you mentioned about Ben White, though. I think Ben White. I think he was the only player. I think he struggled on that right side.
Absolutely.
I think he struggled. Saliba was covering him pretty nicely. But that'd be interesting to see, because I don't know what you think, but like you said, if you play well, you keep your place. If Tomiyasu comes back and when he's fit, I mean, if White struggles like that, when I thought he struggled, I'm sure he's going to lose his players, and Tomiyasu could come in as a 4.5 million defender. Could be interesting.
Yeah, very fair. But I think a lot of that is because you have to give credit to Zaha. Zaha is an elite dribbler. He's so good. If Tomiyasu was out there, Tomiyasu would have struggled as well. I have no doubts about that. So it's interesting though when at the moment Ben White's playing well, we're playing well. He'll keep the shirt. He still, for me, he still had like a 7 out of 10 in my assessment. But suddenly, if he has a poor game and Tomiyasu's at it and fit and sharp, then Ben White could be the one who's on the bench, which would be interesting because Saliba and Gabriel got the makings of one hell of a partnership.
Absolutely. And we'll finish up in a minute now, Ray, but I forgot to mention where do you expect Arsenal to finish at the end of the season?
I think I said, I don't know if I said it last week, but I think it's more of the amount of points we get. So last season we got 69 points, banter. And so my idea is if we get 73 points, I think it's been an excellent Premier League season for us. If we don't finish in the Champions League, huge disappointment. But you have to remember, Spurs have improved, and I think Chelsea are going to add more quality to their squad. And Liverpool and Man City are in their own hemisphere right now. So if we finish on 73 points, I'll be very happy with the season, even if we finish fifth. But I think the Europa League is there for us to attack and really try and win it. That if we don't get into like the semis or quarterfinals, depending on the opposition, of course, you know, if we play one of the really good teams and we lose, it's like, well, it's one of the top teams, like an AC Milan, for example. It's like, well, come on, man. But you know, if we don't go far in there and we're not in the running in the Champions League qualification, then I think questions have to be asked of Arteta. If we finish on like 68, 69 points again, or even 70 points, and we don't qualify in the Champions League, I think this could be the first time we really see Arteta under pressure because he spent £200 million now. In two windows, in two active windows. There's no excuse now, in my opinion, to push on from a points aspect. So yeah,
I agree. Absolutely agree. There's a massive difference between Man United and Arsenal right now. And with Man U, will find it very difficult, I think, this season to get top four. So it'd be interesting, Ray. It'd be really interesting.
Fantastic. It's nice covering our football teams as well, isn't it? Before we get to FPL, it is nice.
Yeah. Get rid of the Man United one. Yeah, when they're winning, yeah.
Well, let's go to where we make the massive bucks, okay? Because you and I are rolling in it with the FPL.
We're loving it.
Fortunately, it was a very positive week for both of us. So Dan ended the week on 79 points. The template was strong. Funnily enough, Dan, last week when we shared our drafts, you had the 5-3-2 and I had the 4-4-2. But now it's a little bit of a switcheroo. So why don't you go through your team and how they performed?
Switcheroo, yeah. I'm really, really happy. Yeah, I was on 5-3-2. I did say it was between 5-3-2 or 4-4-2. And it was two spots. And that was Robertson and Diaz. I wasn't sure of. But I just think the Diaz pick was just... for me, it was an exciting pick. And it's an explosive pick as well. And I thought he was so unlucky not to get a return at the weekend. Really, really unlucky. And then, obviously, I did have Perisic in. And until we got the late news that he's not going to be... We don't think he's going to be starting. That's from James from Planet FPL. Yep. That's right, isn't it? So definitely I had to take him out. I saw a lot of managers benching Perisic, and it'd be interesting when you bring your team in. Because I know you did the same thing. I wasn't prepared to do that. And the way things are looking, that could have been a good move for me. So it was either Walker or Trippier. Now, Walker would have been a good pick, I think, but I really wanted an attacking fullback. And I know Walker would give me consistent clean sheets, and I think he's got that right back spot nailed. But I just think Trippier again was just an exciting pick in an attacking fullback. And I was really pleased. Actually, I did go for him because, you know, Newcastle had a great game against Forest. All play was down that right side. All play was, and he was on all the set pieces, all the free kicks. So an exciting player. And obviously, I mean, Haaland, wow. I said to you, Ray, I haven't really watched Haaland play properly live. And my God, he's just he's definitely come into the Premier League with a bang. Yeah. Unbelievably. He's you can see on his with his attitude, he wants to make a difference. He wants to score goals. He's just hungry for goals. So extremely pleased that I went to Haaland rather than Kane. But right near the end of the deadline, it wasn't difficult for me in the end. Haaland was my boy, and particularly, we've got Gameweek 2 coming up, and they've got Bournemouth, so a nice fixture there as well. Other than that, I'm really happy. The template, like you said, is really, really strong, and it did well.
Brilliant. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. It's just the template was a good template. You can see. I think many managers did quite well. I think there's one or two differences of players who stood out and got those extra 6-7 points. But no, it was brilliant. A good start. I'm really happy.
Wonderful. Going into game week 2. So first of all, make sure to download the app with planfpl.com. Reese, someone that Dan and I know, we met him at the fest, as I mentioned last week. Fantastic guy. Brilliant app. Brilliant support. So when there's issues, whenever I've DM'd him or messaged him, he's very fast in getting back. And I think that's even more important, is once you release the product, that you're there for the support when there are issues, isn't it? It's just as important. Yeah. And so using his unbelievable piece, Dan has, you currently have 0.5 left in the bank, and I assume you'll be rolling the transfer?
Yeah, 100%. And I see a lot of managers kind of panicking, after game week 1. And I just think they're making a lot of panic transfers, should we say. For instance, like we said, Jesus, 250,000 people. Diaz, also 100,000 people they took out. Like, I just think you just need to just be patient with your team. And it's exactly what I'm going to be doing. I think the only little, and it's a little dilemma when I'm thinking, it's the captaincy. That is the team I'll be going into game week 2. And it'll be between Salah and Haaland. And I'm pretty confident I'll be going with Haaland. After what I've seen in a game against West Ham, like I said, he just looks hungry, right? He's just absolutely hungry. And, he was disappointed he came off. He wanted that hat-trick. He probably would have got that hat-trick if he stayed on for the extra 10 minutes or 7 minutes it was, I think. But he will be the most captained as well, I think, as well. He'd be the most captained. And I believe we've got 10 players playing at home as well. So it could be a nice, tasty game week. Other than that, I think this is the team. Game week 3 could be different. I could be making some moves. Particularly maybe
we won't get there yet. We won't
be going there just yet. But yeah.
But so there could game week, there could be. Okay. We'll get there next week. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm getting all excited, Ray.
You are, because you know what's going to happen in game week 2. Someone's going to break down.
Exactly.
So, Percy speaking, I think you're really well set up. So we'll go to mine. And this is me. So I don't know, Dan, you take that, you host this one?
Yeah. So you did have Ramsdale in the end. I didn't know you had Ramsdale. I thought you had Ward, because the difference was you had Ward. It was a 4-4-2, wasn't it? You had a 4-4-2. You had Ward and Sanchez and Ward. Interest I want to ask is Bailey. Bailey's come into the team, and you've gone with Robertson rather than Diaz. So what's your thoughts on having Bailey? And you've got obviously Perisic on the bench. And before you answer that question, I have heard there's a good chance that Perisic will not start this week.
Agree.
And that's, again, by the top man, James from Plan FPL. He also thinks he may not start. So I'm interested to hear 2 questions there, I think. Bailey and Perisic.
So last week, I think we just waxed lyrical about Perisic. We were so excited about him, what we saw with the Roma game. But then, quite frankly, with all reliable sources like James and other ones as well, is it was likely he wasn't going to start, and I said, okay, this might be an opportunity here for me because Bailey is a player really excited me during pre-season. I think Villa were just terrible against Bournemouth, everyone, but Bailey stayed on the whole game, and I thought, okay, well, Perisic becomes exciting for me in game week 3. I am happy to have this team for 2 game weeks. I thought the score was good. I was template strong, as we mentioned before. Even though Diaz was so unlucky, as you said, Robertson was also kind of unlucky not to get an assist as well, and possibly a goal.
But he got in the way, though, didn't he, for Diaz's goal, because it was offside because of Robertson.
Yeah, well,
So I wasn't very happy about that.
I had a word with him, and he he sorted it out. So
I bet you did.
So I thought, I think in game week 3, I feel Perisic could start because Conte will eventually want to start playing him. So I think he'll come off the bench again. I think Sessegnon will start. I was never going to start Perisic. Even if we had him, I wasn't going to start him. I would have probably started Andreas Pereira if Perisic was fit. Yeah, let's just say it was what it was last week for you and I.
Yeah.
So I looked at so I thought, I'll play Bailey, and Bailey really is a 2-week player, Dan. And then next game week he could be the guy that I let go for other assets, but that's something we can talk about next week. So that's how I looked at it, buddy.
What do you think of Andreas? I thought he was quite interesting actually. He's on what I saw. He was on all set pieces, corners, free kicks. He could be a really tasty 4.5 million. He's still, I guess, you may say this as well, he'd still be on the bench, but there's certain games there could be potential that he could get a start. Would you be tempted on that, or is it?
If he signed for Fulham before the game launch, he would have been 5.5 million. And I think because he's 4.5 million, it's kind of put a mental block on all FPL managers. Okay, it was Liverpool. You were never going to start him against Liverpool, but now it's kind of like, but he's the number 10. He replaced Carvalho for Fulham. He's the guy behind Mitrovic, and he is a really, really positive asset. What I saw in the game, Pereira really impressed me. He impressed me with how advanced he was getting. He impressed me with how he was trying to support Mitrovic. He impressed me with the press, which caused against all kind of issues. I think Andreas Pereira in game week 3, even though I told you let's not talk about it, he's a player in game week. He's a player in game week 3 who could make the lineup. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes. I mean, we'll carry on with Fulham. I mean, what a result! Nobody was expecting that. I mean, we got the captain return, but what a result for them! I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I mean, Mitrovic is a guy I've been a fan of when he was at Newcastle, because he's just a big Serb unit. He puts it all out there.
Interesting.
But
Absolutely.
the last two times he was in the Premier League, Fulham seemed to adopt a more defensive approach rather than what got them to the dance. But this season, they're playing what got them into the Premier League, and they at least deserved a draw. And Mitrovic
100%.
had Van Dijk on toast. And we spoke about this offline. I'd love to mention. Sorry, Dan.
No, go.
I'd love to mention it because I said to you offline, and hopefully there'll be a few people who watch this. I really want people to start taking on Van Dijk because, you look at him, usually it's the right centre-back that gets more pressure like Matip or Konate or Gomez from a few years ago. And Van Dijk, no one ever takes him on. When you have the courage to take on any player, everyone can look human. Mitrovic destroyed Van Dijk. He destroyed him in a couple of one-on-ones, and in a way he won the penalty. It just shows that it doesn't matter how good the player is, the opposition, if you get at him, they can crack. So I want to see more forwards take on Van Dijk rather than be passive. Because Mitrovic, I tell you what, Van Dijk's probably having nightmares about Mitrovic.
I've not. Do you know what? I haven't actually seen a striker in the Premier League do that to Van Dijk, completely own him. That's how I'd say it. He surprised me, Mitrovic. if he carries on with that kind of form, without a doubt, I'm pretty sure he's going to be in our thinkings, probably in people's first wild cards potentially. Yeah, brilliant. He looked fantastic. Such in great form. Right, let's get into your Game Week 2 team. So I would say no changes, Ray?
Only captaincy.
Only captaincy.
Yeah, man. You gotta, I mean, I tweeted it out and watched it over and over again. That second goal is perfection. The movement off the ball, the pass. The pass didn't even need a touch. It was so perfectly weighted. Spoiler alert, me and Dan did our all-time 11 in the Premier League, and Kevin De Bruyne is in it for me. I think he's just unbelievable. I think he's the best player in the Premier League. When everyone's at their best in their position, I put KDB as number one. I think the guy has no weakness, and the pass was outstanding. The finish was outstanding, and we can see a lot of KDB to Haaland this season.
Absolutely, and everything was working around Haaland. Everything, everyone was trying to feed Haaland, and his movement is unbelievable. It's one of the I haven't seen movement like that for a long time. Long time. He's a proper striker.
And Nistelrooy-like, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, you could definitely say that. Definitely. And I know you're a massive fan, as you said, of KDB. He could he could be an interesting one to talk about in the coming weeks. But 100%, you can see, they've got a bit of a connection there. What a pass! That was absolutely beautiful pass to Haaland. So he's going to be great. So other than that, I can see. So you said you're not making any moves. You're going to be rolling the transfer.
Yeah.
Are you pretty sure Haaland's your captain? Is there any doubts?
No, Dan, because I think this kind of goes well to a lot of the changes in FPL. Is that last week when we spoke, I said what made the decision easier for me is that I was never going to captain Kane in the game week 1.
Yeah.
And I feel it's so precious and valuable to roll a transfer in the first game week, isn't it? It puts us in such a good position. And when you and I spoke, I said, but I will captain Haaland in game week 2.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to hold Kane, it would be Kane against Southampton and then a game against Chelsea, while I got Haaland against West Ham and captain against Bournemouth. Scenario 1.
Yeah.
Scenario 2, Kane against Southampton, then switch him to Haaland. However, if I kept Haaland, I have that one transfer, don't I? I still have the transfer I've carried over. Those were the two scenarios. Or I just keep Kane and playing through and not have Haaland, which is absolutely terrifying to me. So I feel having Haaland was the logical choice because we still have the data to gather. Rolling a transfer this early is brilliant. So the only move, unless there was an injury, the only move I would have advocated this week is Kane to Haaland. And even if you had to take a hit, it's worth it because you're captaining Haaland.
I was just going to mention that. Again, I've got 630,000 managers just took Kane out for Haaland. I think you're right. It would be on my mind. But it's like you said there. I mean, all that pre-season work, all that hard work we put in and research and selected our teams, this is the thinking you should have been thinking. Unless you were going to book a transfer, that's up to you. But
yeah,
I don't like booking transfers early on. It's a kind of a rule of mine. It's just I like to roll the transfer if I possibly can in the first game week. But I think you're right, though. After seeing Haaland's performance and the hunger you can see in his eyes, it would be on my mind to move him out for Haaland, and you would have to do it quick because he's gone up in price as well. So it was a big decision.
Yeah, brilliant. So before we get on to our community questions, please like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter at the FPL Way. Join our league. The code is there, the FPL Way 2-star. And Dan, I think it's growing quite a bit, isn't it? We've got a few players in there now.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's growing.
In our fantasy league?
Yes. I think we've got over 50 managers.
Perfect.
So it's good.
We'll plug it out more. And what's the win? So I don't remember. Is it the Draft Hound membership?
What's the win? The win is to win a free premium membership with Draft Hound.
Draft Hound is Draft Hound.
It is Draft Hound.
Imagine getting that wrong.
I just had to check myself. You know me, Ray. Jesus. But yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, and another thing I didn't mention is today we hit 200 subscribers on YouTube. We're taking over, buddy. We're taking over. So
love it.
Thank you so much to everyone who we went up about 100 subscribers after last week. So
yeah, it's crazy.
Absolutely fantastic. So anyway, all that kind of sobby stuff out the way. People just want to talk about FPL. They don't care about our sob stories. And that's all good with me. So we'll go to the community questions. And Dan, I have a little surprise for you. Bam! What do you think?
That is sexy, Ray.
A little bit
you
designing.
love it, mate. You love it. It's really good.
Thank you. Yeah, it was much better than last week where I was like sticking things together as if it was papier-mâché. But so let's. I'll read out the questions, Dan, and I think with this one, I'd like you to start off. So it's from Thanos. Really great guy. He's always he's always been a massive supporter of my work and also of our work as well. So he always gets involved. A few DMs with him. Top chap, wicked manager. I think last season he finished in the top 1K. So his question is Kulusevski to Foden as planned or hold off? What are your thoughts, Dan?
As planned, yeah. First of all, I would hold off. Look, I thought we kind of missed a trick with Kula. Well, say kind of. We all knew Kula was going to be a good asset.
He has him, by the way. Yeah, he has him. He got the points already. Yeah, so he's.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. But go ahead.
I would hold. I know the fixture isn't great, but he's in good form. I don't particularly think Chelsea were great against Everton, by the way.
No.
And I think, Chelsea's does have a good run against Spurs. Are they playing home or away?
Home. It's at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, and Spurs has not had a great record, but I think this is an opportunity for Spurs. To get a result. I really do. I would 100% keep. I know Foden. I think Foden did well. I think he did well. But I'll just hold off. I think I don't think there's much need to put Foden as a priority. Potentially, you could wait till Gameweek 3. You can maybe think, but I think if you don't make the move now, I think Kulu is going to be a hold because the Spurs fixtures are pretty decent. So it's a hold for me.
Yeah, I echo those sentiments as well because Kulusevski's gone up in price already, and also he was more than just the foil for Son and Kane. He was one of the main offensive attributes in that game. He was absolutely brilliant in the match. And I think, Thanos, if you got Kulusevski, I fully agree with Dan, is you keep him. I think he's going to be very threatening against Chelsea. I don't think they're going to play Chilwell because Kulusevski will destroy Chilwell. I think they're going to play Cucurella as left wing back to try or play him as left centre back in the 3 to protect Chilwell because Cucurella is a better defender. Yeah. I think Kulusevski is more than just Tottenham cover. I actually think he's a phenomenal asset. And in game week 3, I think a lot of us are going to keep an eye out on him because he's nailed. He's nailed in that team, in my opinion.
100%. 100%.
Brilliant. Next one from FPL Kookaburra. Scott, how you doing, man? Thank you for the question. So, Dan, what are your early thoughts on Newcastle and Leeds attackers? Specifically, Joe Linton, who's not an attacker. St. Maximan, Wilson, Bamford, Rodrigo, Harrison, and Harrison. What are your thoughts, Dan?
Yeah, I watched the Newcastle game against Forest. I thought Newcastle played really, really well. But I will say I thought Forest was really, really poor, and they did allow Newcastle a lot of the ball. They were really sitting back they're playing 5 at the back. Forest was, but I will give credit to Newcastle. They did look really, really good. Joe Linton could have scored an absolute worldie. I don't know if you saw the highlights, Ray. He was phenomenal. He should have scored. As an asset, it's a no.
Remember last season?
I knew he was going to say it. I knew he was going to say it. Let's not go there, Ray. My repetition will be down the crapper. I would say Wilson, 100%. I think Wilson is going to be a great asset this season. If he stays fit, I think he's got 15 goals in him. Is that too much? I'll say 15 goals if he stays fit.
I agree. He's a top player.
I think so. He is. Yeah. For Leeds, Bamford, yeah, I do like Bamford. Again, if he keeps fit, he's going to be a good asset. I wouldn't be jumping on him anytime soon because who are you going to drop to bring him in? And that's the question. I don't know who you would drop. Most of us will have Jesus, and you're not going to take Haaland out. So Rodrigo, I like to see a bit more. He's interesting. He played at the number 10, I believe, behind Bamford. So he did score. He did score, didn't he? He did get a goal. He could be interesting, but I think I'm more interested in Arison and Bamford if I was looking at Leeds. Yeah, Arison looks good. And Arison could be a player for potentially like a Neto swap or Bailey. Yep. I'm more looking at a Neto. Yeah, I'm more looking at Neto. If Arison plays the way he played last weekend, I think he's going to be a great asset. I believe he won certain corners as well and set pieces, I believe. So out of those two teams, I'm more interested in Wilson, Arison, potentially Bamford. That's probably might be in a thinking of a first wild card thinking. What are your thoughts, Ray?
No, I mean, I'm completely the same as you, Dan. I don't even need to go forward. I think you said it really well. I fully agree. Arison would be the guy I'd maybe look at from game week 5, depending on performance. But I agree. Fully agree. I think we can move on to the next one, buddy. Really well answered. Yeah. Jack, my goodness, my man. That's every time I see Jack, I gotta say my man. He's really, really, really good guy. I think I'll answer this question first. So Also, risk of cooler rotation. Reckon he'll be benched often for Richarlison? I don't, Jack. Conte loves to play with the same lineup when he kind of has 7 days, and obviously Spurs getting the wins. And I think Kulusevski's performance is just like, it was so good that for me, there's no risk of a rotation at all for the first 3 or 4 game weeks. So if you have him, you should just be, you should sit back, light up a cigar, because he right now, out of all the 8 million assets, what I saw from Kulusevski outshines everyone. And I think he can keep it up. What are your thoughts?
100%. I really like him. I really like what Conte said about him after the game. Yeah, he said how hungry he is and he wants to become the best player. That was quoted by Kulo to Conte. And again, if you hear stuff like this from a player, then it's great to hear. It'd be interesting to see how Richarlison comes in. And as we know, he was banned in the first game week. Thing is, I've not seen Richarlison is more of a left winger forward. He's a left winger and a forward. I haven't really seen him play as a right winger.
Neither have I.
So again, it's just been interesting to see how that setup goes. I just think Richarlison is squad depth, and a good squad depth he is. I don't think there's any risk.
When the Champions League kicks in, we'll see. But at that point, we're all. But that's what we're doing, isn't it? We're playing like a, in I guess in my job in operations, we're playing a sprint. So therefore, you just focus on 1 to 4, 1 to 5 game weeks, and in that 1 to 4 game weeks, I think Kulusevski will start every game. That's just how I look at it.
100%.
Wicked. So go to Harrison at 3CI. This is the first time you've asked a question, which is brilliant. So the Ward-Everson combo, thoughts, Dan?
I can see the interest because it saves you 1 million. They're both 4 million goalkeepers, but don't expect to get clean sheets. Well, you will get clean sheets, but not as much. They're 4 million for a reason. I guess forming for the reason, but the Fantasy Premier League, they wasn't expecting Schmeichel really to leave, so it's kind of left us with this opportunity for a $4 million goalkeeper. I wasn't exactly impressed with Leicester's defence. I think they are leaky at the back. I can see the interest. And if you can get that 1 million into an asset, then brilliant. But me personally, I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah, I think last season, Schmeichel finished only 7-8 points less than Ramsdale, I think. Playing for a terrible defence, simply because they were just crippled by injuries, and obviously they had the Europa Conference League, isn't it? I think they got to the semis or something like that. And it looks like they were butchered in defence again this season. The thing is as much as I see people potentially being attracted by the double up, I've never seen Ward play. So I don't know if he's actually a good goalkeeper to be a viable asset. And I'd rather go for Ramsdale, for example, or I went with Sanchez, who actually played very well, and I think he got a few points because of save points. Or going all the way up to Edison, for example. that's kind of where I'd go. I feel, and I think I said last week, I still think Leicester will buy a goalkeeper. I still think they'll buy a goalkeeper. To put all that trust in Ward, who's hardly ever had game time with Leicester, to suddenly be the number one, is just too far a risk. Because if Rodgers doesn't start well this season, I could see him under serious pressure with his job, especially with the amount of selling they might do. Because you got Tielemans, who I think I said to you last week, we needed to sell some players. I think then potentially we might go for Tielemans. Fofana with Chelsea could happen, and then of course Newcastle going with Maddison. I think Rodgers has to get this right.
It's an interesting one for Leicester. I wasn't expecting this season for them to be selling so many of their players, and I don't think they brought a lot in.
No one.
No one. So it's an interesting one. I think you could have spot on there. I mean, Rodgers could be on serious pressure. They played well. Got a point, but again, they leaky goals in the second half, I believe it was. So and the trust, there's a lot of pressure, I think, on Ward. But the only benefit what Rodgers has said about him is that he sees him as a really good goalkeeper. He's close to being number one. So,
okay,
yeah,
that doesn't really comfort me.
It doesn't. It's a great end, and that was.
We'll go on to this is what Jack was asking earlier. So Leon Bailey, my goodness, thoughts. So I kind of gave my thoughts on Bailey. Dan, what are your thoughts? Because you kind of asked me the question rather than comment.
Yeah, well, I put a tweet out this afternoon and just mentioned about what is everyone doing with Bailey. Are you holding, selling, or benching? And the majority of the comments I got was they were holding, and I just think it makes total sense. I don't see a warrant of the need to be transferring him out, and if you do, who? Unless you got a bit of money, unless you saved a 0.5, and for the start of your season, I don't know who you're going to go to really, and I just don't think it needs. I don't think you need to. It's not a priority. So whoever you can bench him, depending what your bench is. But I would certainly I would not get rid of him. I would keep him 100%. And he played well, despite the fact Villa didn't play well. And as you mentioned, he played a full 90 minutes, which is actually promising because he's quite an injury-prone player, isn't he? And he's been struggling with minutes. So, yeah.
Also, he's the only one with serious pace in the offensive areas. Coutinho's not speedy. Ings is not speedy. Watkins is not speedy. Buendia is not speedy. Three of those players love the ball at their feet, while Bailey is an outlet. To play on the last line and to obviously for those balls over the top as well. I just think, as if I was the Villa manager, I'll be like, look, we need some pace in this team, and Bailey's the only one that has pace in our team, and he had a phenomenal preseason, which made me obviously select him like a good 20% of managers. And also, I agree, he was the only positive from what I saw. Everything that they tried to do, Bailey was just, he's just putting his all in, isn't he? He was trying to do something. It didn't work. It was just a bad day in the office, but I definitely saw positive signs to keep him.
Yeah, 100%.
I'd definitely keep him as well and play him. I'd start him.
Yeah,
I think home.
Which you are, aren't you? You're starting him this week, aren't you?
Yeah. I mean, home to Everton, I believe. I think Villa at home are a different team. First game of the season. I think they're gonna really go for the throat. That's my feeling.
Yeah.
All right. 100%. All right. So Dan, we've come to the end.
It's gone quick.
Look at us after 1 week. Look at us. We're natural already. We're just.
I know. I think I wasn't as nervous as the last week. I feel a lot more comfortable. And you know what? I just think the comfort comes in with the feedback we've been getting and the support. It just makes you want to do it again. And that's why we did it again. I know we said we were going to try and do at least 2 every month or so, but I think if we enjoy it and we get the time, we can do another one. And really, again, I really appreciate all the community questions. I think we had a little bit more than last week. So it's good. It's brilliant.
Fantastic. So once again, guys, I'll just put up the ticker. Please like, share, and subscribe. I think Dan and I are going to aim to do this next week excuse me. Also, check on Twitter. Probably on Thursday, we'll release our predicted lineups. Also, on Draft Hound as well, I'll leave the link there. Sign up there, and obviously you can see more of our content on there. Fantastic site, really, really good stuff they got over there. Dan and I have been really in the midst of it when they first launched it. They used us as guinea pigs. And once again, guys, we really appreciate all the support. Dan and I make sure that we're kind of content for the people, if you like. Always available, always very personable guys.
Absolutely.
We like to think. So absolutely brilliant, guys. Once again, please like, share, and subscribe. So it's goodbye from me, and
it's a goodbye from me.
Have a great week, guys. Thank you.